first couple weeks of spring ball gone for you?
Yeah, it's been really good. Just kind of really focusing on the details in my game and the little parts that I can clean up from last year, and truly just trying to be a leader on this team and a role model on this team.
What was last season like for you? Had the injury and came back and played pretty well towards the end of the season. What did you kind of take away from it?
Yeah, that was kind of my whole thing. Just finishing the year off strong and having a good finish, and just kind of being able to build off of what I was able to do at the end of the year towards last year, and being able to continue that progress and not only just keep getting better from that little last back half of the year.
The way you finished sort of give you confidence, optimism about how this season could go with Miles moving on.
100%. Yeah, I mean, when you're able to, really get, a lot of reps in one single game or a couple games, it changes the whole, trajectory of, how you thought things were going to go, because things can change just like that at any single second, and being able to step into that opportunity and, perform for my team and be able to make plays for them definitely gave me more confidence coming into the season.
How does your approach change, if at all, with Miles now gone? Does that ramp up your intensity, and also at the same time, do you feel pressure to be more of like a leader for the group now?
Right. Yeah. I mean, definitely not like any pressure or anything like that. Just kind of, being where my 2 feet are and keeping that same work ethic that I always had. Even when Miles was here. But being able to also lead the young guys in our room just with the way I work, because I'm not going to ask them to do something that I'm not doing myself. So it would be unfair of me to ask them to give 110% effort and do the little things and the extra things if I wasn't doing them myself.
So weird being the old guy in the room now?
I wouldn't necessarily say weird. It's it's just a blessing to be able to have the opportunity to, be the old guy or kind of lead those guys. So it's just, I'm grateful that they, come to me for advice, and I even go to those guys for advice sometimes too, and just being able to lean on each other.
I think you come a long way in terms of the hand in the dirt, inline HVAC stuff, because that wasn't really your game in high school. But you kind of, going into this year, where do you feel like you are in that respect to the position?
Right. I definitely feel like I've taken, great strides from, when I first got here, obviously, and just being able to, now that I kind of understand all the fundamentals and different reads of the D line and all that kind of stuff, just being able to play with more confidence and really, use those fundamentals that I know so well to my advantage in the game now. So being able to just implement those during the game.
Have you ever gone back and watched blocking drills from early in your career just to see how far you've come?
Yeah, sometimes, just to get a little laugh or something like that. It's crazy because when the young guys get here, I tell them, like, man, they're so far ahead of where I was when I first got here, and letting them know that, it's a journey, it's a process, but it's also, you have to enjoy it in order to, be able to have fun while you're working and getting better at those things. So, I definitely go back to look and see just how far I've come, but definitely know that there's always another step.
Was it hard to embrace that process when you're in the middle of it, and now you're seeing sort of the results of it?
Right. I mean, definitely, because just that competitive edge, once you're not doing something right, like you want to get it right just like that, and when things aren't clicking, it definitely becomes, that's that mental part of the game that not a lot of people really talk about, but it's as important as the physical part of the game. And so being able to just hone in on the next rep and really focus on the details in your game and in your craft, you're able to kind of focus on that more so than the results of that.
What kind of difference have you seen in Deshaun from last spring to now?
Right, yeah, I mean, he's having a really good spring, playing really physical in the box, and y'all know what he does out in space, makes plays, and he's still that guy, but really just, he's been focused on the box and kind of, learning that run game the same way I was trying to do it, and then he's taking big jumps, he's doing really well.
Well, those young guys you might have been talking to, Luka Wolf, what have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, Luka, that's a big guy right there, he's a big guy and he moves really well, and so, Luka, he's an athlete, he's a really good player, really good football player, and just kind of, telling him like, all right, like, you feel this sort of pressure to, do everything perfect when you're young, but, it's okay to have growing pains because, things aren't ever going to be perfect, even for me to this day, what I mean? Just understanding that not everything's going to be perfect. It's okay to, mess up on a rep and then fix it the next rep. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's okay as long as you get it right. I mean,
what's his understanding of the game, or what was it coming in?
Right.
Since he didn't have a super long football background.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's done really well. With the installs, the offense. I mean, we were talking about it the other day. He's just been super clean on his assignment, super assignment sound, and probably more assignment sound than I was when I was his age. You know what I mean? And you know, he's doing a really good job picking up everything.
Probably helped him get used to living in a new country and coming from overseas and all that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's Luka. He doesn't even need any adjustment. You know, he's a good guy. You know, regardless of location. So he's just been himself, and that's more than enough.
Thanks, Ethan.